Remember all the formulas. The area of a parallelogram formula is base times height. It says that a parallelogram has sides 15 and 18. The height corresponding with the 15 centimeter base is 9 centimeters. So the height corresponding with this is 9. What is the height corresponding to the 18 centimeter base? All you're going to do, you're going to multiply the base times height of the two corresponding base and heights, so 9 times 15. And then you're going to set that equal to the other base times the height we don't know. So area equals base times height. There's two ways to find the area. You can use 9 and 15, or you can use 18 and that one's height.
Is this what our test is on?
No.
Okay, then we're going to multiply 9 and 15, and then divide by 18. And so then divide by 18, and you get 15 over 2, which is 7.5 centimeters. An isosceles trapezoid. Do you remember what an isosceles trapezoid is?
Yes.
The legs are the same.
Yeah, so it means these are the same. It says that one of the bases is 16, one's 26, and the sides are 13.
Double base. Yes, all trapezoids have double bases.
Oh crap.
Yeah, even non-isosceles have two
They have two
bases.
bases, Chris.
I did this wrong.
Yeah.
You mean they have equal legs?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they have an equal base.
No.
No.
Great.
Okay, now,
You're doing it out, Chris.
if it's isosceles, then this amount here
It's bad.
and this amount here have to be the same.
Yeah.
If the top is 16, then that means that this is also 16.
Which means.
So if the whole thing is 26, then the sides are 5.
Look at that. Wow.
We need the sides because we need the height of the trapezoid. So we know that this triangle here is a right triangle with a leg of 5 and a hypotenuse of 13. And we need the height. How can I solve for the height?
13.
No. 5 squared plus b squared equals 15. 13 squared.
Good. 5 squared plus the height squared equals 13 squared. Okay, 5 squared is 25. 13 squared is 169. Then you will subtract and get 144.
144.
And the square root of 144 is 12.
Oh, wait, I need that.
So the height is 12. That's not the answer, but that's our height, and we need that. So the area of a trapezoid formula is 1/2 times the height, base 1, and base 2. So
I know this.
1/2 times the height, which we just found was 12. Base 1 can be 16, and base 2 can be 26. Now, you have a calculator. Yay! So you don't have to worry about math. You can plug all this in at once. So you can do
Oh.
1/2, 12, 16 plus 26. Does it all for you, as long as you know how to use your calculator. So this is 252 meters squared, or square meters. Has a length of 16. Because if this is 8, this is also 8. So it doesn't matter if you call this 8 or this 8, it's the same thing. We want to find the other diagonal. In order to find the other diagonal, we need this amount. And if we're looking at this right triangle, This is a right triangle because it's a rhombus, and the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. So we're going to solve.
5a squared plus b squared equals 10 squared.
Yep.
Wow.
And then
that'll
64
be
plus b
64.
squared equals 100. And subtract 64. Then it's 36.
So what is x?
36.
Okay.
Oh, I just I plugged it in with 36.
Oh, that's too big.
Yeah.
So don't forget to square root it. So this is 6. 36 doesn't make sense. That's huge. Look at the
know.
other numbers,
I
right?
was thinking the same.
It has to be smaller than the hypotenuse, so 36 would make
I hate
sense.
that feeling in the test when just when you're doing a problem, you're like, that doesn't fit, but it makes so much sense like with the work.
What's diagonal 2? If this is 6 and this is 6.
12.
Well,
12. Diagonal 1 was 16.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right.
Alright, so we're going to do area equals 1/2 16 times 12. Now again, you have a calculator. Type it all in.
Wait.
1/2
It's
parentheses
96.
16
I bet you it's
parentheses
I will-
12.
I will
96.
remember to do the
Definitely.
parentheses.
Maybe.
That one was on.
Wait, was that 96 backwards?
96, don't forget the units.
Inches squared.
Okay.
So when it tells you that the angles are congruent, that means it's an isosceles right triangle. All isosceles right triangles are 45, 45, 90. They have to be. That's the only way it works. That's the only way. If this is 90 and the sum of the angles has to be 180, the other two angles have to add to 90 and they have to be the same size. So the only way it works is if it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, this is 3. If this is an isosceles triangle, what is this?
3.
Right. So you don't even need to know the 45-degree part. You just need to know that you just need to know that this is an isosceles triangle, and look, it says it has this mark here. So what's this?
3. So that means it's 6.
So we have all the things. What's this diagonal in total?
11.
11.
And the other one is.
And this one?
6.
Right.
So we just.
So area equals 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2.
So we didn't even like math.
You didn't even math. You did some math.
Well, yeah.
So you should get
Eric, can I see your
33 square
Sonny,
centimeters.
can I see your
What? That's not how you do
No,
it.
yeah, so this triangle is that formula we learned the other day. So area equals, what is it, 1/2.
AC, BC.
Okay, BC, and then times
Signing.
sine A.
Sine.
Sine of angle A. So that's,
In other words,
It's
area
16
1/2
times
16.
10 sine 34.
Yep.
When you plug that in
Guys are so smart.
and divide it, you get 45
He's okay.
I aspire to be like this.
inches squared.
is it 40, it's 45 even? No way.
There's no one. Is it actually?
Can't be.
Well, the practice problem the other day was 3 even. So
That's different.
Wait, well, let me plug this in again, but I'm pretty sure I'm
I
right.
want to be. I want to be.
Let me see.
I got 44.7 and change.
Oh, I rounded to,
Max, I think she.
Hey, then that's
she's
not
going up
even.
on the squad.
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
Both of them.
Wait, so should I change it to 44.7?
I mean, it doesn't give. Right.
We're doctor.
So the ratio of the areas is 8/18. You can divide both of those by 2 and get 4/9. To get the ratio of the perimeters,
Oh, we're not done.
you just square root the 4 and you square root the 9. And that gives you 2/3. That is the ratio of their perimeters. It's also the scale factor. Okay, so scale factor 2
Oh, wait,
to
I remember
3.
this now.
And then ratio of perimeters 2 to 3. They're both the same. So the ratio of the perimeters and the scale factor are the same number, or the same fraction.
I remember this
I remember
now.
that time I found my mom's blue bands on top of a trash can at Universal.
What?
Test, that's going to be a bunch of shapes put together, and you have to, like, know all the formulas like rectangle, square,
The bottom's
triangle, all of that.
Can this be a bonus?
These are so easy for
So this particular figure can be split up into a right triangle and a rectangle. And we know that because of the right angles everywhere. Okay, so this rectangle, if we're focusing on the rectangle, what's the area of the rectangle formula?
40.
Area equals base times height.
Area equals base times height.
Oh, we're using colors?
So this particular area would be base times height, which is 40.
Colors. Let me get my colors out.
Okay, then we have this triangle up top. What is the area of the triangle formula?
1/2 base times height.
1/2 base times height. Now, we have the height, it's 5, but we don't have the base, but we can find it. So this whole base we know is how
Just
big?
take 3 from 8 and you have 5.
It's 8.
Wait, but
So this whole base is 8.
But the 1 plus the 2 is 3. Subtract 3 from 8. That's 5.
So that makes this 5. So the area of the triangle
It's 25.
is half of 25.
It's
You get 25.
So then that means the area of the entire figure is 40 plus 12.5, which is 52.5.
That's not that bad. I just saw a bunch of numbers in like crazy shape, and I was like, I can't do
Yeah, you gotta split it up into the
3 and how many?
10.
3 out of 10 here.
Okay, if it's a hexagon, it's got 6 sides. I'm not gonna draw all 6 sides, I'm just gonna draw the bottom.
Because doing one more of those, I'd be dead.
Draw the bottom, draw the center, draw 2 radii, and draw the apothem. It's giving you the side length of 8. So that means this whole side
It's 8.
is 8. Now,
Oh my gosh.
on everyone's paper, I should see this shape and then the tiny triangle in here redrawn. So tiny triangle, redrawn, and then you're going to fill in what you know.
The 30, 60, 90.
What is this?
That's 4.
Yeah, because it's half of 8.
I think it's wrong.
We don't know the apothem.
And that's what I don't know how to figure out. So let's listen.
Okay, then there's one more thing that we know, and that's this angle here. So what we have to do, since it's a hexagon and has 6 sides, is we take
8 times 6 from the perimeter.
360 and divide by 6.
That's how you find
That's 60.
Oh.
That gives you this entire angle.
and you half it.
Then you chop it in half to get
And that's 30.
this angle.
Okay.
Now, if it's a 30-degree angle, that makes this a 30, 60, 90 triangle. That only happens with certain shapes, like the hexagon. If you read the directions, it says to leave your answer in simplest radical form. What that means is no SOHCAHTOA.
Ah.
Gosh darn.
When you do it with SOHCAHTOA, you don't get radicals. Okay, so this means you have to know your 30, 60, 90 rules.
So wait, 30, 60, 90, there's never, you don't use SOHCAHTOA?
Never. Well, maybe not never.
Man's game.
Okay, those are the 30, 60, 90 rules. What is A in relation to short, long, hypotenuse?
It's long.
It's the long. Okay, so A is long. So we have to use this one. And what would be the short?
4.
4.
There you go. 4 root 3 is A.
And then P is 48.
So P can be found by doing what?
6 times 6.
Wait, what?
I said 8
8 times 6. Yeah, so the side length times the number of sides. So side length is 8, number of sides is 6. So that's going to be,
That's going to be 48.
It's got to be.
Wait, this is the.
It's got to be.
we need this and this for our formula.
So it's not your place.
I thought way too much about this.
So why do you use the side cups?
Now, this is the one question that you can't use your calculator like entirely for. So you can use your calculator a little bit, but not too much, because then if you use it the whole time, it won't leave it in radical form for you. So my suggestion is to just take
4 times 48. Well, half the 48.
all three of the numbers here. 1/2, 4, and 48, like this. So 1/2, 4, and 48.
I got 96. Yeah.
And then put that in front of the square root of 3.
That's it. So simple.
And these are in square inches.
Wait, could you do that again? The calculation. Okay. Alright, I got it.
Hopefully I did the rest of these
I hope we
correctly.
did go.
The entire decagon, we're just going to draw the bottom.
Deca
I
is
feel like that
fine.
is necessary.
Deca is 10.
Talking about you, Matt.
It says the radius is 10 inches. That's this one. So we don't know the side. We know nothing.
Yeah, we don't have them.
Okay, what we're going to do is redraw the triangle, the right triangle, this one. We know the hypotenuse is 10, and we can find this angle.
5.
So first we would find the entire angle by doing 360 divided by
10. And then
10
46.
because it's a decagon. No. What could you possibly need a calculator on? No, we discussed that. You have to guesstimate. No calculator. Okay, after you find 36, you're going to take half of that,
And that's 8. That's 18.
and that's what's going to go in here.
Doing it right so far.
And then you do cos. 10 cos 18.
Whoa, don't rush me. I have nothing filled out. What are you finding?
You're finding the A.
Okay,
But you
which
also
one's
have
A?
X.
The long side.
Okay, and this one we'll just call X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, you need both because you need X in order to find the perimeter. X is half of the side. And you need the side for the perimeter. Now the apothem is in the formula, so you need that too. So, this is an opposite, this is a hypotenuse, this is an adjacent.
So it's
So,
Bless you.
what do you want to find, A or X?
let's find A.
X.
X.
Okay, let's find X. So X is the opposite, so we're going to do sine
Thank you.
of 18 degrees equals the opposite over the hypotenuse.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I did this.
Then we're going to multiply by 10.
I did this wrong. Wait.
And we're not going to round.
Okay.
I put 100 in front of it.
Do
Why did you have
Because
100?
I did 10 times 10 for the perimeter.
it's
Because there's 10
That's
sides.
not the perimeter.
It's not.
No.
no. You do 2
So-
times 10 because there's 2. Yes, and then you do 10.
Alright, hold on,
times-
stop. You're getting ahead. Pause.
Stop.
You have to know what X is to find the perimeter. So first we find X.
Precisely.
This is X, the half of side length, this piece right here. Okay? You need the entire side length to find the perimeter.
So time 2 and time 10.
So we take this piece and multiply it by 2 to get the side length. Okay, so the side is 20 sine 18 degrees. That's what the side is. If you want to find the perimeter, you would take the side length and multiply by the number of sides, which we know is 10. And again, we're not rounding, so we're not typing this in the calculator yet. So perimeter equals 200 times the sine of 18. All we did was multiply the 10 and the 20, and we're leaving the sign there. And then we're just going to put this aside for now. Okay, now we can find A. So A is an adjacent. So we'll use cosine and these guys. So cosine of 18 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And then we can multiply by 10. And that'll get A by itself. Put that aside too. Okay. 0.
What?
I got 7.
Stop plugging it in your calculator.
Stop it.
Did I plug it in my calculator? Don't plug it in your calculator.
Yeah, what she said.
You're going to round too early and you're going to get everything wrong.
Yeah.
Don't plug it in your calculator until the end. I don't want you getting it wrong because you rounded early. Mr. Delgado wants to see you too. After you do perimeter and apothem, you have everything you need. Just plug it into the formula. So area equals 1/2 perimeter times apothem. We're going to do 1/2. The perimeter is 200 sine 18 degrees. And then the apothem is 10 cosine 18 degrees. Now we get to plug it all in our calculator all at once.
So, okay, let's see what I get.
So, y'all know I'm recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good day,
You don't record it?
Say hi to G1.
G1!
Okay, now I got an answer.
Evangelists.
I got 293.9.
I go 73.
293.89 is correct.
I rounded and I was super close, but now I know not to round, so.
It says to the nearest square inch, so you're going to do 294 square inches.
Get it. I feel so accomplished.
Oh.
Now, if you round...
Separate.
Last
Separate.
question is a nonagon
So it's 9.
It's 9. I know
with
it's on
10
9.
centimeter sides.
You know that, right?
It's 9. Yeah. Do not try to explain this in some crazy way. That was
Okay, so how you know 9 is not?
It starts with an N.
Because 9.
There you go.
You're a 9.
But how I just get
That's like
Oh,
the
you're
compliment,
bad.
actually.
All right.
How I get
So we're going to draw the bottom of the nonagon, and then we're going to redraw the right triangle.
No one thinks you're stupid.
No, because we called you a 9.
You have like the highest grade in this class.
No, G1 does.
G1 is. Okay, you're like the second highest grade in class.
Yeah, you're smart, great.
Yeah, grades.
No. Great.
I should
I'm
be
the
smart,
second
but I make
lowest grade in
stupid
class.
mistakes.
It was the lowest.
So I'm redrawing that little right triangle right here. If the whole side length is 10, that makes this 5. And we need to find the apothem. First, we're going to find this angle by taking 360 and dividing by 9. That gives me 40. That means that the little angle is half of that,
20.
and that's 20. Good. We will use 20 and we will use 5 to find the apothem. So the apothem is adjacent to angle 20, and 5 is opposite of angle 20. So that's
just
not
said about
a
it.
And
Come on.
it's definitely TOA.
TOA.
Tan.
Tangent. Tangent of 20 degrees equals opposite over adjacent.
So it's 5 tan 20.
No.
No.
A is in the denominator. We're going to multiply by what's in the denominator.
Oh. So you divide by tan.
Precisely.
Good job, Jeff.
So multiply by A
Oh, God.
and then divide by tangent of 20 degrees.
So you always divide by tan.
No. Just have to look and see what the equation says and solve it appropriately. using inverse operations. Okay, what is the perimeter?
5
That's definitely 90.
divided by tan 20. That is 13.7. Oh, what is the
Not yet.
Use a
Perimeter.
Perimeter.
Sorry.
Stop using a calculator.
Perimeter's 90. Okay, so we have apothem, we have perimeter. Now we're gonna plug them into our formula.
Answer is definitely.
So 1/2
1/2
apothem
90. No, the apothem
times perimeter.
And then get
618.2. That's all I got.
And it doesn't really say to round, so I'm just gonna round to the nearest
I don't know
tens.
if you're writing down there, but I can't see it.
Oh, really? My bad.
I got 618. Oh.
Ms. Rep, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you have like a fraction, for say that one 5 over tan 20, for say that was the half of the perimeter, the one side, how would you get the whole thing? How would you multiply it?
Nothing that you just said made sense at all.
Okay.